Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you about the most used and famous, one of the fast and secure operating system, that is Linux. Uh, so uh, I'm going to tell you from the scratch base of the Linux. What are the components available in Linux? What are the architecture of Linux? And use cases and how to use the commands in Linux. And along with that, I will expand something related to shell scripting also using Linux. So let's deep dive into this first video of my YouTube channel. Uh, yeah, welcome back. So, what are the topics that we are going to cover today is first we need to know what is operating system before learning about Linux. So, first topic is operating system. Second, Linux. Third, Linux architecture. And then we move forward to Linux distribution along with that package manager. And then some few use cases of Linux in this today's IT digital world. Yes. So, what you know about operating system? Everyone are using Windows operating system, right? In your laptop, desktop, personal computer, everywhere you are using Windows, right? So, what is Windows? That's also an operating system. Same way, same way we have Linux operating system, which is mostly used in various application servers deploying for ethical hacking and many more. There are various use cases available that we'll be seeing in the end of this video. So first, before learning what is Linux, you need to know what is operating system, right? So just take an example of Windows. Okay, so in your laptop, Windows has been installed. Only if the Windows is installed, you are able to work in the laptop. You are able to create files. You are able to view the graphical user interface of the Windows software. Same way, to use Linux, you need to install Linux in your system. So, what is Linux? Linux is a software which acts as a mediator between user and the computer hardware. Still confused? Okay, I'll give you one example. Okay, everyone know or you have visited a restaurant, right? So what you can see in restaurant? Majorly, you go to restaurant to have a food, right? So you can't get food directly. First, you will order it, right? You will order it, and then there will be one main person, main guy who is a chef who will take the order, who will give the order to the person who is actually cooking, and then he will deliver it to you, right? So that chef, the one who takes the order from you, and and then he just plans out interiorly how to cook it and what are the resources required, how when to deliver everything. So that mastermind chef is like an operating system. So this is what a simple example which I can give to understand what is operating system. It controls hardware. Okay, it runs applications. It manages file. It handles user. It keeps things safe. These are the advantages of operating systems. So there are various operating system available in market. We have Windows, we have Mac OS, we have Linux, Android, iOS, etc. So, but we are going to learn Linux today. So, what is Linux? Linux is an operating system, just like Windows. It is free and open source. It is multi-user based OS. What does this mean? It is multi-user based OS. It means multiple user can use this Linux system. It's not like single user. In Windows, we have a single user interface. So this is multi-user based OS. It is highly secured. Linux supports both CLI and GUI, command line interpreter, and graphical user interface. So let's look what who developed Linux. So it was developed by Linus Torvalds. So how did he develop? There is some short story behind this. So Linux, this Linus Torvald was working in Unix system, and he just came into some requirement, and he wanted to make some changes in that Unix. But Unix was not free, and Unix was not allowed to change. Also, we can't change the code. And then with the same requirement, with the same Unix, like he found Linux operating system, which was free, and he was able to change, and he was able to make some changes in the Linux operating system, and then he named his own operating system as Linux. So this is how Linux came into market with the help of Linus Torvalds. So, and then what we are going to next, what we are going to tell says what is the architecture of Linux. So you can see here main architectures of the Linux. We can also call these as the components of Linux. First, we have a hardware, and then we have a kernel, we have a shell, and then the outer layer is the application system, utilities, libraries, anything. Okay, that comes in the outer layer. So let's learn what is each component. So hardware layer is a physical component of your computer. It can be anything, okay? It is a physical component. That means it can be a RAM, CPU, or it can be any input output devices, keyboard, mouse, printer, CPU, HDD, anything it can be. So that's the hardware, okay? Now, what is the responsibility of this hardware? It is responsible for interacting with the Linux OS and providing the necessary resources for the system and applications to function properly. So, this is the main component we can say, which will communicate with the operating system, and then it will provide the necessary resources, okay, for the processes to run. Second, we have a shell. It is the user interface of the Linux. What does mean user interface? User interface means it will provide some console wherein user can type some command, and that commands will get interpreted, and it will be executed, and you will get an output from the shell. So that is what user interface. So what is the responsible of shell? It is mediator between the user and the kernel. You can see you have a shell, right? So from the shell, the user enters the command. That commands will be interpreted by the kernel, right? So that's what it has been said. It is a mediator between the user and the kernel. It will read the commands entered by the user and convert them to the kernel understandable format. Now comes the main part, which is kernel. It is the heart of Linux OS. It is mediator between the shell and the hardware. It will receive instruction from shell and convert the command into hardware understandable format. What does this mean? Okay, now I'm the shell. Okay, and I'm getting a command from the user, right? And that command needs to be interpreted. So I will talk to the kernel, who is the heart of the OS. Kernel, what the kernel will do? It will talk with the hardware, and he will say that these are the hardwares required for this process to run. Please give the hardware to me, and then again the hardware will provide the resources, and then you will get an required output. This is the flow of our Linux operating systems. Hope you understood the way I told you. Next, we have a system libraries. System libraries are nothing but you can say shared libraries, or any pre-written code, you can say. That means, see, for any application to run, we write a code, right? After writing the code will be executing and you will be getting an output. Now suppose that we have a predefined code for a certain task to execute. Why we need to write it again, right? We can import these libraries, and from that library we can get the required output. So no need to write the code again and again. That's why we have this. That's why we have this system libraries. Okay, next we have a system utility. What is system utilities? These are the two essential tools to manage and configure various aspects of the system. What does this mean? Okay, now you need to upgrade your Linux operating system, or you need to do some patchwork, or you need to do some update. So all these maintenance works are done by this system utility. We have some tools that will take care of these maintenance work. So these are the five components that you need to remember when you are learning Linux. Here I have given you some flow which shows that user will write a command in a shell, and then shell interpret or talk with kernel, and kernel talk with hardware components to get required resources to run particular process. Hope you understood what is architecture of Linux and what are the components of Linux architecture. Okay, next we will learn about what is Linux distributions. Yeah, as I told you that Linux is a free and open source, right? What does this mean? Free means anyone can use. It is not licensed. You can just use this Linux without paying anyone, right? And at the same time, the same code can be used by any of you. Same code can be used. You can manipulate it. You can change it. You can add some new features into it, and you can create your own OS. So instead of saying OS, they have said it as a distribution. Flavors, different flavors of Linux. So that's how we came into a new term, that is Linux distribution. So Linux distribution or distro is a packaged version of Linux that comes with the Linux kernel plus a collection of software and utilities that make the OS functional and user friendly. So, what are the popular distributions that are available? There are various distributions available. More than 200 distributions are available in the market. We have most of the distribution that you would have heard is Ubuntu, Debian, CentOS, Mint, Red Hat, and many more. Now, let's see what is package manager, right? In Windows, if you want to install any software, any application, what you would do? You go to browser, you type and download this, install this, and your application would install in your Windows. Now, what you would do in Linux? So here we have a package manager concept which will helps to install, update and remove any of the software. Okay, so package manager is responsible to install, update and remove any of the software. What are the package manager we have, right? So each distribution that we have learned previously, each distribution has its own package manager. For example, for Debian-based distros, we have uh, apt. For Red Hat-based distros, we have yum or DNF. For Arch Linux, we have Paceman. So how to use this package manager in Linux? I will be telling you in a different video. Now let's see what are the use cases available. What are the use cases of Linux? We have servers and hosting. So Linux. We are using Linux in servers and hosting also. What does this mean? So, for any application deployment, we used servers, Linux servers. For hosting any static or dynamic website, we use this Linux. For cloud infrastructure and DevOps, mostly all of the servers that are that we are using in cloud infrastructures and DevOps are Linux only. For containers and microservices, yes, you can see Linux. Security and ethical hacking, programming and development, embedded system and IoT, scientific computing and research. Everywhere we use Linux only. Uh, so for today's video, uh, I've just told you about what are the basics of Linux, and in coming video, I will be telling you more about Linux, how to use the commands, what are the file distributions available, what are the commands used for searching the text, everything I'll be telling you in next video. Thank you, and if you like this video, please like and share, and I have prepared some quiz for you. This is just simple quiz, just to brush up your mind. Let's see. Which of the following is true about Linux? So if you see the option, it is clear that it is open source and Unix-like. It is not Windows. It is not developed by Apple. It is not a proprietary operating system. Who is credited with creating the Linux kernel? Yeah, it was Linus Torvalds. Which component of Linux directly interacts with the hardware? So, which component directly interacts with the hardware? It is kernel who interacts with the hardware. What is the role of the shell in Linux architecture? What is the role of the shell in Linux architecture? It interprets with user commands. Which of the following is not a type of Linux shell? Bash, zsh, fish, dus. Which of the following is a Linux distribution? Yes, it's Ubuntu is the Linux distribution. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Keep watching if you like my video.